Welcome to the Louisiana Business and Industry Show. And now, your host, Tim Johnson.
Businesses and industries across Louisiana are engaged in support of the communities in which they operate. These philanthropic efforts support organizations that play a critical role in everything from education and healthcare to simple support for those who are less fortunate. We'll highlight the United Way of St. Charles Parish when Executive Director John Diaz joins us on the Louisiana Business and Industry Show.
The Louisiana Business and Industry Show will be back right after this.
Founded in 1984, BIC Alliance and its subsidiaries connect business and industry buyers and suppliers with one another for the betterment of all. BIC helps companies grow in three ways: aggressive sales and marketing campaigns in BIC Magazine, finding the right people through BIC Recruiting, and by merger and acquisition and related services through IVS Investment Banking. Contact BIC Alliance today.
The funny thing about Louisiana is that people don't often ask you why you moved home. They just accept it as the most natural thing in the world. Because of course I would want to move back home and be near my tribe, be in this beautiful landscape. It just inspires me. Whether it's a golden marshland, an expanse of sugarcane fields, a sunset through a cypress swamp, the outdoors here really are like nowhere else. You can start your day off paddling at Lake Martin, finish it off with music at the Blue Moon. I came home for my dream job, but also because I believe in Louisiana and where it's going. We're building a world-class Central Park in Louisiana, planned by the members of this community. And I just bought my dream home, a sustainable house designed and built by the architecture students here at the university. My electricity bill was $30 last month. The life I thought I would have in Austin is actually happening right here in Louisiana. I'm E.B. Brooks. I have the job I want in the place I love.
At Peak Performance Physical Therapy, we treat the athlete in everyone, from the soccer star to the soccer mom. If your doctor prescribes physical therapy, ask for Peak Performance by name, getting you back in the game of life.
Consumers and property owners with a construction project can have a very successful result or a regretful experience that could have been avoided. Before beginning any construction project in Louisiana, verify licensure of the contractor and check references. Scammers may claim to be licensed or bonded, but you should ask for a copy of the license. For additional information, contact the Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors or go to the website lslbc.louisiana.gov. Licensed and qualified contractors. It's the law.
Welcome back to the Louisiana Business and Industry Show with Tim Johnson.
Welcome back to the Louisiana Business and Industry Show. Very pleased to be joined by John Diaz. He is the Executive Director of the United Way of St. Charles. We're going to be talking about business and industry impact on organizations like the United Way. John, welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. I really appreciate it.
Glad that you're here. I first heard you speak at the Narco Community Advisory Panel that my firm facilitates, and your passion and your energy level were very interesting, intriguing to me, and so I wanted to have you on the show to talk more about what you guys do. So let's start off by you telling our viewers a little bit more about the United Way of St. Charles.
Well, United Way of St. Charles was founded in 1955, so we've been around for a while, and you know, the technical answer would be we're a 501c3 nonprofit whose service area is St. Charles Parish, and that's true. But you know, the way I like to look at it is we're a group of community leaders that we give the fancy name board of directors to, that looks for needs in the community and then works with business and industry partners to address those needs. So it's a pretty simple proposition. It's folks looking around and saying, how can I make the place I live or work in better? And what can we do to achieve that?
You know, we mentioned in the show open that sustainability, that engagement by business and industry in the communities in which they operate is critical for a lot of different reasons, from education, healthcare, just general support in a lot of cases for those who are less fortunate. And I know that the United Way of St. Charles does a great job in those areas. But tell us about some of the things you guys are working on. What are you engaged in? What's new at the United Way of St. Charles?
You know, when you mention new is what, kind of pops into my head. I think one of the shifts we've seen, and you know, I think it's what our donors want. We've seen United Way's transition a little bit, at least our United Way, from a sense of, look, we do fund programs, agencies that help when a problem has occurred. We want to be responsive. But you know, we're also asking ourselves, how do we just fix that problem? I use the analogy all the time that, you know, the United Ways historically, when somebody tripped over a crack in the sidewalk, they'd pick the person up and dust off their knees and get them on their way. Well, now we say, let's fix the crack, right? So an example of that would be, you know, we started a program we call Money Matters, where if folks call our office and have an urgent financial need, a lot of times we'll get the call, I had a job interruption, a work interruption, I'm in the donut hole. It's a big issue for seniors in their benefits and health care. And they'll say, my utility's getting ready to get turned off. Well, we do have a mechanism to help them keep those lights on, but we also enroll them in a program now to teach them how to manage their money so they don't keep running into that problem over and over again.
So you really go after the root cause and not just treat the symptom.
Right. And it, you know, it's common sense. I mean, it's the, you know, I've had donors even tell me, oh, so you're teaching the man to fish instead of giving them the fish. And I said, you know, we're doing both. That's right.
One of the things I found very interesting the night that I heard you speak is that you guys are engaged in wellness in a big way in St. Charles Parish, right? And again, you're talking about treating or teaching the individual how to fish and not just giving them fish. You guys are doing a lot to prevent illness and major medical issues for residents of St. Charles. Talk a little bit about that.
Right, that would be the newest really function. I mean, we say our focus areas are education, income, and health, and I had kind of felt we were a little weak on that proactive health initiative, if you will. So we started a variety of things. You know, one of the first things we did is we worked with parish government, Parks and Rec Department. We have a great relationship with them. They gave us some land at two very easily accessible parks, and we funded the equipment of what we call a fitness area. So it's outdoor fitness equipment. So folks can go exercise. They can get that experience working out right there at the parks in St. Charles Parish. So that's one of the things we did. We distributed a couple thousand kits on how to parsley kits, a little cup with seeds for the school kids in the area to grow parsley, and handouts on the nutritional value of things like that and how to eat a nutritious diet. We now are actually working with a cardiology group that is going to subsidize and offer some low cost that United Way will fund health screenings. So the next thing we'll roll out over the course of the next year is we're going to identify some groups that, you know, kind of at high risk. We're going to offer free health screenings, and we're going to see if we can prevent the heart attack, the stroke, the blood pressure issues before they happen.
More prevention than necessarily responding to the outcomes. One of the things I also found pretty interesting, John, was that you talked about the independence of the individual United Way organizations. Obviously, there is a big national United Way organization, but each local United Way is sort of a standalone entity. Talk about how each is different.
And that was the biggest surprise for me. I don't come from a United Way career path. I've been with the United Way since 2008. So I always say that I was the person sitting on the other side of that talk, that campaign speech. I understand how those folks felt. And one of the first things I learned were there are about 1,100 United Ways around the country, and I can't emphasize this enough. They're all locally governed, local dollars stay local, all independent 501c3s. And I think the reason that's important for donors is donors need to know, you know, where's my money going, right? So if you donate to a local United Way, unless you ask for that money to be sent outside the area, it's used right in that area.
100% of that money is
used. It is. We are not even allowed, unless a donor wishes to send money out of the area. We call that a designation. Sometimes folks will donate to our United Way and they say, hey, you know, I have a passion for this national organization. We send those funds. But unless directed to do so, it stays right in that area.
And you guys do a lot in terms of fundraising, working with industry. We're going to take a break in just a minute. When we come back, we'll talk more about industry support and how critical that is for you. But that's, I think, something that most folks don't understand. When you think about charitable giving, philanthropy. Oftentimes, so much of that money is skimmed off the top to support some national big bureaucracy. We've got about 30 seconds left. How critical is it that you guys keep every dollar that you raise in your parish, and most of that money gets to the actual charity that you're trying to support, or the effort that you're trying to support?
I think that all boils down to, excuse me, that I believe that, you know, part of our job is to educate donors, okay? And we want folks to understand where my dollars are going. So wherever your United Way is, you know, ask them about those things. And yeah, I think it's important for organizations to be efficient. I mean, our administrative costs are well below 10%, for example.
That's really outstanding and really a benchmark. We're going to take a break. We come back. I want to get into the support that you guys receive from industry and businesses in St. Charles Parish. We're visiting with John Diaz. He's the Executive Director of the United Way of St. Charles, and you're watching the Louisiana Business and Industry Show on Cox 4.
The Louisiana Business and Industry Show will be back right after this.
BIC Media Solutions is a marketing and communication, media advisory, and event planning company within BIC Alliance. BIC Media Solutions offers custom book publishing, event planning, and keynote speaking to its clients in the business and industrial sector, and marketing partnerships to others in publishing. BIC Alliance is your business and industry connection. Contact BIC Alliance today.
What if I said that the American dream is alive and well, and that it exists for anyone willing to build it? That the power of a nation does not reside in its monuments, but in the hearts and minds of those who built them, and that the country's greatest heroes also wear hard hats. In today's America, it's not enough to dream about the future. You have to build it. Build your future at byf.org.
Consumers and property owners with a construction project can have a very successful result or a regretful experience that could have been avoided. Before beginning any construction project in Louisiana, verify licensure of the contractor and check references. Scammers may claim to be licensed or bonded, but you should ask for a copy of the license. For additional information, contact the Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors or go to the website lslbc.louisiana.gov. Licensed and qualified contractors. It's the law.
Welcome back to the Louisiana Business and Industry Show with Tim Johnson.
Welcome back to the Louisiana Business and Industry Show. Our guest is John Diaz. He is the Executive Director of the United Way of St. Charles. And John, this is the Louisiana Business and Industry Show, right? So we always talk about business and industry, and we promote the good things that go on in our state. And this kind of effort is really one of them. You get tremendous support from businesses and industries within St. Charles Parish. Talk about the importance of that support, and then really get into, if I'm a business person, I'm an organization, why is it important for me to give? What's in it for me, so to speak?
Right. Yeah, I'm glad you asked that question, especially the second part, because I think that's often overlooked. But you know, in terms of the importance of having a relationship with the United Way from the company side, you know, I think it all boils down to the fact that, look, you know, companies, industry, you know, really we're talking about people, okay? Right. And humanity is inherently generous. Companies want to be good stewards. They want to be good neighbors in the community. And I think having a relationship with the United Way, be it a workplace campaign or advocating or telling people about it, you know, it allows that company, we try to make it a pretty easy vehicle for efforts like a campaign or a cook-off or whatever the company does, trickle down to making sure that first graders are getting meals on the weekend in our community, 550 get fed. To cancer patients getting medical care, to kids getting a great early childhood education experience because we run a program that mentors child care centers. So, you know, companies want to give back, and it's a win-win. You know, it's an easy way we make it, I think, for people to get involved. And I always go back and say it at its most basic level, if you make the place you live and work in a better place, it benefits you. So why not?
Well, and you know, if you think about the United Way of Greater Baton Rouge, right? United Ways all over the state. they are really dependent upon the engagement of business and industry. And I know in St. Charles Parish, groups that I've had the pleasure of working with, like Shell Motiva Narco, the narco manufacturing complex, critically important to the success of the United Way of St. Charles.
You know, very critically. And, you know, we have a little bit of a double-edged sword business model at our United Way, because we get great support, but it's from a handful of businesses when it really trickles down. I mean, we have about 30 workplace campaigns, but if you look at our campaign total, off the cuff, 80 or 90% comes from about 5 companies.
Right. The big boys.
The big boys. Valero, Norco Manufacturing
And I would
Complex,
suspect that it's exactly the same in most United Ways around the country.
I suspect so. I suspect so.
It's interesting, and I know how important. Now, I want to talk more about business engagement, how small businesses and individual contributors can get involved with United Way. But you mentioned something in your last answer that caught my attention when I first heard you speak, and it caught my attention again today. And this is this program that you guys have to feed children over the weekend.
Backpack program, we call it, right?
Talk about that.
Yeah.
Show us, tell our viewers, because I was shocked to hear the statistics about how many kids go home and don't have anything to eat over the weekend, and how you guys have engaged there.
Well, you know, it's interesting because we're typically, by a lot of standards, a very wealthy parish. You hear St. Charles Parish, which, again, we're very fortunate. But actually, I looked it up this morning. I was trying to do some homework. You know, the poverty level, federally poverty level, shows that like 13 or 14% of residents in St. Charles Parish are below the poverty level. 52% of children in our parish are on free and reduced lunch programs.
52%.
52%. And there's 2 schools where that's at over 80%. So the concise version of the backpack program we learned a couple of years ago, in fact, it was shortly after about the 2009 recession, we started hearing stories about kids in 1st and 2nd grade hoarding food on weekends.
You have an example,
a backpack, right? So we started hearing about these 1st graders hoarding food. Well, the reason they're doing that is because they're not getting fed on the weekend.
Don't have anything to eat on the weekend.
No, it's the fancy word is food insecurity. You know, it's a nice way to say a hungry child.
What we take for granted, right? These kids, we wouldn't even think that these kids were hoarding food because they had nothing to eat.
Correct. They know they're getting fed at school Monday through Friday, but they know that Friday to Monday is a long time. So now if you skip from there till now at 5 local schools, we're feeding 550 children every weekend, and this is a bag of the food. We use the term kid-friendly food. We fund, this is funded through a partnership with Second Harvest, and you know, really this is what's getting a lot of 6- and 7-year-olds through from Friday to Monday.
It's amazing, isn't it? So how did you find out about the need, and then how did you put together the program to respond?
Yeah, we found out about it actually talking to a school principal at one of the schools, who the teachers and the counselors had seen this, and it was a little bit of a new, you know, phenomenon for them. They hadn't seen it before. We then did a little research and found out that, you know, some of these programs exist, and we immediately, you know, went to our board. We, the staff, went to our board and said, you know, a hungry child, that's got to get fixed. And the program has evolved since then.
It really is amazing. We've got about 1.5 minutes left in this segment, so let's talk just briefly about smaller businesses and individuals. How do they get involved with United
Well,
Way?
you know, we say give, advocate, volunteer, okay? You know, we are always glad, and you know, our operations are funded by workplace campaigns. And even a small company can hold a workplace campaign. I've gone and talked to 2- and 3-person companies. But if not that, give, advocate. They could let me come just share. I don't even need to ask for a donation. I'd like to just tell their team at their company what we do. Or volunteer. We have a number of volunteer opportunities, everything from, you know, short-term, long-term, setting up volunteers with our partner agencies. So, you know, big business, small business, individual, retiree. Again, I'll keep saying it, when you make your community better, you help you.
Well, you've got a new volunteer coordinator at the United Way of St. Charles. I want to talk about that a little bit. I also want to talk about why it's important to contribute through the United Way and how you guys consolidate that effort and really make things targeted. We're visiting with John Diaz. He is the Executive Director of the United Way of St. Charles, and you're watching the Louisiana Business and Industry Show on Cox 4.
The Louisiana Business and Industry Show will be back right after this.
Hi, I'm Joe Martin, president of ITI Technical College. Do you want a better life?
Get your associate's degree in occupational studies in information technology from ITI. In 2 years, you'll be on your way to a better life. You will get hands-on specialized training in computers, hardware and software, networking, and more. ITI offers flexible class schedules, and financial aid is available to those who qualify.
So don't wait. Call ITI now or go online. It's that simple.
ITI, for a better life.
The funny thing about Louisiana is that people don't often ask you why you moved home. They just accept it as the most natural thing in the world. Because of course I would want to move back home and be near my tribe, be in this beautiful landscape. It just inspires me. Whether it's a golden marshland, an expanse of sugarcane fields, a sunset through a cypress swamp, the outdoors here really are like nowhere else. You can start your day off paddling at Lake Martin, finish it off with music at the Blue Moon. I came home for my dream job, but also because I believe in Louisiana and where it's going. We're building a world-class Central Park in Louisiana, planned by the members of this community. And I just bought my dream home, a sustainable house designed and built by the architecture students here at the university. My electricity bill was $30 last month. The life I thought I would have in Austin is actually happening right here in Louisiana. I'm E.B. Brooks. I have the job I want in the place I love.
Welcome back to the Louisiana Business and Industry Show. John Diaz, the Executive Director of the United Way of St. Charles, is with us. John, you guys have a new volunteer coordinator at the United Way of St. Charles. Tell us about that person and tell us about the role that they play, what they're expected to do.
We're really excited about this. We have talked for years that we wish we could have somebody whose sole job was to link folks who call and want to volunteer, or maybe a company wants to do a work day, and link that with the needs that we are aware of in the community. Literally, I was at a Dow fundraising cook-off, and a representative from Dow said to me, we're thinking we'd like to hire part-time a person to work with our folks and volunteer and identify and basically describe the same things. I said, well, I think I can get my board to pay for the other half of a salary, and a position was created. So it's, again, a great partnership. And it's, even though the young lady we hired has only been in the job a few months, I mean, we just this week got a call from a company who said, hey, I'm looking for a team building activity for about 15 employees. Do you have something we can go do? We were aware of an adult daycare center that needed their patio fixed up. We've linked the two, and they're getting their team building activity. Our adult daycare center is getting some things fixed up, and folks are having fun and getting engaged in the process.
Well, that really is a nice transition to the next thing I wanted to talk to you about, and that is, I have the ability to go out and choose individual organizations or opportunities to contribute. I could go out there and do that on my own as an individual or as a business. Why is it important that, in terms of the charitable giving that we do in St. Charles Parish, that individuals and businesses work through the United Way?
A great question, right? We're pulled in a number of directions. Donating to our church. I always tell people, I'm never going to tell you not to donate to your church, But here's what I say about our United Way. I think we're the one agency that looks at the whole community. The old model of the United Way was we were sort of dealing out cards to our partner agencies, and that was good because you could make a donation and it was going to go to the Boy Scouts and the Cancer Association of Greater New Orleans and Special Olympics and things like that serve St. Charles Parish residents. But now, again, we're taking a bigger step and saying, that's not good enough. What else do we, the United Way, need to do? So what I tell donors is, learn what we do. Go to our website. If nothing else, look at the frequently asked questions section. Look at that, and we all have a sense that charity begins at home, and we're the home agency that's looking at our whole community to make it better, and I think we're doing it very cost effectively. We're very fortunate. Our building was donated. We have low overhead costs, so people know that dollars they donate are translating into the community.
And when you aggregate contributions like you guys can do, you're able to have a much more significant impact on those organizations to which you contribute, right?
Absolutely, and I use Special Olympics all the time. I love the folks locally that run our Special Olympics program, and these are volunteers. And if they had to go do those fundraising talks, and if they had to hire somebody to go raise funds, I mean, that's just taking away time from the special athletes that's what we want, right? That's what we want them to do, and they do a wonderful job at it. So that's just one of the examples, but yeah, it's just more efficient.
Well, you've mentioned a number of things. You mentioned the backpack program to feed children over the weekend who might not have enough to eat. You've mentioned some things you're doing with wellness and health fairs. You've mentioned the Boy Scouts. Tell us, just briefly in the next minute or so, about some of the other organizations that the United Way of St. Charles supports.
Sure. We support everything from an early childhood education initiative that helps small daycare centers. We're essentially helping teach their teachers to get credentialed. And what's interesting is since we started that, we've seen the number of kids who do not pass or who fail, I guess as anyone would say, at first grade, go down. So we're
early education.
Early education,
right?
Yeah. So again, fix the crack in the sidewalk, right? We've got a great school system, but kids were starting the school system not ready to learn.
Behind,
and we've been working on that. So there's everything from that to again, I mentioned Special Olympics, Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts. We have our meals program. We fund the Therapeutic Riding Center. Very interesting. Horseback riding, equestrian therapy is shown to be very successful in some folks who can't respond to traditional therapy. Insurances are never going to cover equestrian therapy. We have a young lady, a young girl that's going to be in our video. She was in our last year, and she couldn't walk because of a rare genetic disorder. And this year we were proud to shoot video of her running around at a playground locally. Yeah, it's, what I tell people is, look, I mean, when I do talks, I say, here's the bottom line. Your decision may very well be the difference between the 6-year-old eating or not, or I think she was about 5 years old at the time, the 4 or 5-year-old walking or not.
How about that?
So it's not a joke. It's a real deal. It's real people.
It really is critically important. 10 seconds. If individuals and viewers want more information about the United Way of St. Charles and how to get involved, what do they do?
Easiest thing is Google United Way of St. Charles and take a look at our website.
John Diaz,
thank you.
I love your passion, man. Great job today. We'll look forward to hearing more from you. That's a wrap, guys. Thanks for joining us. Join us again next week at this very same time for another edition of the Louisiana Business and Industry Show on Cox 4.